Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of the Word of the Lord. And this week, I want to talk to us about the fact that nothing is born great, nothing starts great. Most of the time, or big. Most of the time, we don't. Most people in the world don't really appreciate small things. Not too many people appreciate small beginnings. We think that things that are small we normally we normally just pass by small things. We normally just neglect small things, and most people now are only looking for big opportunities, big things, and but that's not the way life is. That's not the way God created life, and that's not the way the nature is. God created everything in such a way that things will be appreciated when they start small and when they are worked on, and when the process is observed for anything small to become bigger. You need to go through the process, and it is in that process that you learn all the lessons that you need to learn in the process of getting something big. Nothing is born big, and nothing big comes suddenly. Everything big that you see is as a result of some work that has been done upon those big things when they were still small. And the reason why God will not give us things big normally is because He wants to prove our faithfulness. He wants to see our attitude, and He wants to see our diligence in being faithful in the small things. So nothing is ever born and nothing comes big and great immediately. So anytime you hear of those big promises, those big proposals, be careful. It might be deception. Most of the people who deceive, the tricksters and the fraudsters, they know the nature of man, and they know that men like to go for the big shot and for the big stuff immediately. So they use that mentality and that mindset to deceive other people. So when someone is promising you something big all at once, and I'm telling you that you could get everything at the same time, no, there might be some deception somewhere there. So we'll continue this talk during the time of this week. So this whole week we'll be talking about this subject. God bless. Hello, everybody. We continue our talk today that nothing big comes suddenly. Nothing big comes suddenly. But you see, the nature of man is to expect big things all of a sudden, big things suddenly. We normally will expect a miracle, and we're looking forward for miracles, and we're looking forward for unexpected blessings, blessings where we did not sow, blessings where we did not work for, things that we did not deserve and we didn't work for. So that mentality of expecting something that you do not deserve is actually the mentality that destroys man, because it's the mentality that breeds greed and covetousness. So greed and covetousness comes from somebody expecting to receive something that it did not deserve, something that it did not work for, something that it was not something big when it was not faithful in something small. So really, nothing will come to you that you don't already have. Everything that you have now might be insignificant, might be small, but it is those things that you have now that will be a blessing to you tomorrow. If you want anything big in your life, if you want anything big to come to you, it will only come from the little things that you have right now. Big stuff will not come to you from outside or from the moon or from somewhere when you never had it. The big things you will ever have in your life will grow out of the little things you have right now, out of the small things that you have in your hand. So whatever you have in your hand, you've got to treasure them. Whatever things you have in your hand, you've got to value. And then, not just value and treasure, but you've got to nurture the small things you have. Because the big things that will come to you will normally come and only will come through those small things that are right now in your hand and in your care. As you are faithful in them, they will become big. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Hello, everybody. We are continuing the message of this week that that the fact that small things don't, big things don't come suddenly. Big things never come suddenly. And the truth in this is that if big things don't come suddenly, and if nothing is giving birth to big, if nothing big comes, if nothing comes big, and everything has to start small, because every small thing that you see starts with, every big thing that you see starts small. The big, when you see the big house, it doesn't just start being big, it was started small. It was started from somewhere. So anything big that you see is as a result of nurturing the small things. So if everything that we see comes from small things, it means that we must come to critical decisions in our lives, a particular critical decision. And the critical decision we have to come to is the fact that we must begin to change our attitude towards the small things. How do you relate to small people around you? How do you relate to insignificant people in your life, in your family, or just in the street? If you really want to enjoy big stuff in life, if you really want to experience greatness in life, you must change your attitude and relationship to the small things. And so the path to greatness starts by paying attention, by noticing the small things of life. Then look into your life and see what are the small things, and what would you like to, the small things that you have, when will you begin to notice them and be faithful to those small things. Like, for example, somebody could say something as small as eyes, that I don't have anything special, but you have eyes. Eyes, everybody have eyes. What could be special about eyes? Well, in the book of Proverbs, it says that God gave eyes both to the poor and to the rich. And one in the process became rich and wealthy, and why the other remained poor? You know the reason why? Because the rich people are people who notice small things. And they don't just notice the small things, they nurture the small things they have, and until they become big, and so they are wealthy. But the poor people are people who see small things and neglect them and pass by them and think these are so insignificant to pay attention to. Well, those things were never nurtured, they never became big, and the person remains poor and remains in the same position or even worse as he was before. So let's begin to take serious the small things in our lives. We'll continue tomorrow. God bless. Hello, everybody. We're continuing today, like we started this week, about our attitude to small things, and that nothing starts big. Nothing starts big, and that the opposite of that is that everything starts small. If everything starts small, then, like I said yesterday, we must change our attitude to small things. And like I said yesterday as well, that I gave as an example our eyes, that as simple and as insignificant as people might look at eyes, that is something that everybody has. It makes a big difference in what comes out for in who we end up becoming in life because of our attitude to those small things in our lives. So if we are to change our attitudes to small things, how do I change my attitude to small things? How do I begin to view small things? How do I view something small? Well, I want to encourage you that anytime you see small things in your life from now on, begin to view it as just the beginning. Whenever you see something small, rather than despising it, rather than passing by it, rather than neglecting it, it is important for you to pay attention to that small thing and to come to the conclusion that that small thing I see carries something great inside of it. You must look at that small thing you see and see it and view it as the beginning of something significant, as the beginning of something great, as the beginning of something marvelous, big, mighty, that will come out of that something small. Why? because of the principle that every big thing starts small. Nothing comes big originally. So it starts small. That's the law in this life. So anytime I see something small, I must be able to view it with respect and with dignity, because I know there is something big that's going to come out of it. When we give birth to a child in the hospital, we rejoice. And why do we rejoice? Because we know that child will grow, and that child will become the continuation of our race and of our family roots and of our, of our entity, of our family entity, because we know the child will grow. That's why we rejoice. If the child was supposed to remain just small like that, the way they were born the first day, nobody would rejoice. We would rather be glad, we would rather be sad about it. But because we know of the perspective, about the future of that child, we rejoice. So also with everything small, look at it as we look at that child as the beginning of something major to come in future. God bless. Hello everybody, we continue to talk today about the fact that nothing really starts big. And when we're talking about nothing starts big, it's not just talking about achievements and great great achievements and achievers that we see, or successes that we see around us. When we're talking about things starting small, it could go as far as the everyday things that we see around us. We see that habits, behavioral patterns, all start small. Good stuff, bad stuff, all start small. Good people and people with good habits, good behaviors, those good things don't just start, being displayed in their lives all of a sudden. They started with small steps, small actions. So also our evil things, bad things, that the bad things that we see all around us, they start with small things, with small habits, with small steps, with small actions. Like in our church here, we have a lot to do with drug addicts and alcoholics. So when we work with drug addicts and alcoholics, so often we think, these people, how could they become like this? Well, I tell you how they become like that. They become like that because they started small. When when you stop listening to your parents, when you don't listen to your parents, when you don't obey what your teachers are telling you, when you go to try to taste what is cigarette, start with this little cigarette, then becomes more, then it goes to addiction, and then that cigarette is no more satisfying you. Then you want to taste something or try something more, and then it becomes drug addictions. And so also is with drinking. You start out with beer or with wine, and you think there's nothing really bad about it, and you don't notice it when you become a drunkard and become an alcoholic, as a matter of fact. So also is with sex. Some people just want to try. So everything starts small. Sometimes it's just by watching the movies. You watch movies, you see people sleeping around with each other, and that becomes your habit. It leaves something in you. And if you're not careful, if you don't fight it, you become a victim of it. And the next thing you realize is that you begin to sleep around, and you're not faithful to your partners, and then things go bad in your life. Small things start small. So let's look after ourselves and see all the small things we're doing, what will it grow into? God bless. Hello everybody, we continue today the message and the word that we've been given this week, that everything starts small. Everything you have in your life starts small. But when we're talking about that, we're also meaning your habits and your attitude and your behavioral manners and the character traits that you have. So it's important for you to make an analysis of your life and find out what are the things that you don't really like in your life. What are the things that you would not like to have in your future? If there are some things that, just look at yourself, make an analysis, and make a list of the things that you will really not like for it to grow in your life. Take a look at your habits, at your practices, at your behavior, at your reaction to things. Maybe you are someone that likes to do some small things that nobody is noticing, but you know what? It will not stop at that. It's going to grow. Maybe you are doing some things now that you yourself are not even paying attention to it. And you think, oh no, I just doing that. It's not a big deal. It's going to become big. If you are the type that likes to watch, night TV and adult TV and pornography in the night on the computer, you know what will happen? It will not stop there. It will grow. It will grow into adultery. It will grow into fornication. It will grow into, it could grow as bad as pedophile and rape and things like that if you're not careful. So it goes to a worse extent. Look at other things that are in your life. Maybe you entertain some anger and you hide it. Wow, it's going to explode one day. Maybe there are other things that you do and you engage in that nobody really knows about. Why can't you be frank with yourself? If you don't want those things to overwhelm you sometimes, if you don't want them to grow and to totally wipe you out, you better declare war on them right now. Begin to fight those weaknesses that you would not like to see in your future. God bless. Hello everybody, we're finishing our talk today and about the small things, that not everything starts small, and that it's not just the great visions and the great dreams and the great destinies that start small. That law applies to everything. It applies to the smallest things in our lives, even in our habits, in our behaviors, and in the way we react to life. So if we are going to talk about small things, being the last day, what I would like to encourage you to do is to make a list of all the small things that you have in your life that you've not really been paying attention to. This week we spoke about the eyes. Why don't you begin to put down in your list the things you have, like you think is just natural and ordinary, like hands, like feet, like your eyes, like your nose, like your mouth, like your head, like your brain, just like your fingers, or like your house, like your cars, like your car, like your shirts, like your dress, just everything that you've thought to be insignificant up to now, that you've thought to be small. Why don't you begin to think about how to maximize those things, and to begin to study how to improve them, and to begin to work on them? If you be faithful to the process of development of these small things that you have, you will not believe what you will get in the next 10 years. It's because small things have the tendency of growing. Those things will grow beyond your expectation. Now, there are two things that make things to grow, that make small to become big. The first thing is time. When you are faithful to follow the process and the procedure, to develop and to nurture the small things you have, with time, time itself will multiply and increase whatsoever you have. And also the second thing that makes small to become big is consistency. If you have to be consistent, as you have been consistent and you tenaciously and constantly do what is right and what needs to be done, you develop a habit, and that habit will lead you into producing the expected result, because the laws are faithful. They produce, life is predictable. You know you will get the result after some time. So time and consistency will help you to improve all those small things you've just listed now in your life to become so big that they become your platform that will bring greatness to your life. God bless.